Your enemy isn't in striking range, and an attempted assault will leave your forces exposed and out of position. I'm a tabletop hobbyist, and today I'm going to talk to you about staging or preparing for the future. So, what is staging? Simply put, you're just getting ready for the next turn. I like to think of staging in two different ways: defensive and offensive. For a defensive stage, we place most of our units behind obscuring terrain so we can pop out and release a hail of firepower on any exposed enemies. Or offensive, where we place our units in such a way where we can buff as many as possible and prepare them for a devastating charge and fight phase. No matter how you do it, staging comes with a couple of risks. Let's talk about them. We're going to start with defensive staging and talk about some of the most obvious risks I could think of. One of the main ones is you give up way more of the board than you expected, and now your opponent has the power. Maybe you've positioned poorly, and now they can charge a transport into your lines and just really gum up your movement. Or maybe your own troops are now blocking the path because you've moved out of order. Now let's move on to offensive staging. One of the biggest problems is that you could overcommit, and now you're relying on some long charges that, if failed, put you in a nice, easily digestible ball, or in a place where you just don't want to be. And an overarching theme is that overinvesting in your staging may leave you unable to react to other parts of the board, and in the absolute worst case scenario, you fail to reach your staging area, and now you've got a unit in a place where you don't want them. Keep all this in mind, and let's move on to how we use this information. First things first, we're going to deploy with the idea of staging in mind. I like to think about my first two turns when I'm deploying and where I want to end up. If I want to be on my opponent's side of the board in turn 2, I'm going to deploy with my death ball ready to run up, hide, and then murder. If I want to shoot my opponents in turn 2, then I'm getting them as close to striking position in turn 1 as possible while making sure I limit the amount of firepower coming at me. If you have fast units in your army, you can use them to draw your opponent to other parts of the board, and this will help lower the resistance in your target area, basically making them a softer target. Above all, you need to be proactive in your staging. If your opponent is deciding your board state, you're playing into their hands rather than them playing into yours. Don't forget to weigh the risks of investments, mind your buffs, and the range on your auras. Make sure you thought about your threat range because you don't want to pop out and be out of range because you're just SOL. That's all for today, folks. Like, subscribe, and comment what other topics I should cover. See you soon. Bye.